if you have a mechanical mind, or you have that inventor's bug thing going on, getting one of these as like a coffee table is gonna be amazing. But this video is kind of like, what do you think about this, or tell me why it won't work. I've never done this myself, so. But when it comes to fascia, we all know that a lot of times, even though you lay everything out and cut it on the ground, it might still be a little off because the wall might be a little off, and it's really noticeable when you look down the edge of the subfascia. But I think those problems are probably easier just fixed later on with a Sawzall. Cut the nails loose, even if you have to cut it loose from the plywood. I mean, I'm not talking about a 2-story house or anything like that, but in the most simple situation, it probably, as long as you've got good lining for your walls and you've laid out your tails really well, I don't see why you can't just go ahead and nail everything up and then look for the flaws later. But I was watching a video really a few minutes ago, and it's a standard, here's your rafter. Get your bird's mouth. There's your pitch cut. All right. So the guy's standing up here, and as we all know, a sheet of plywood is going to be, it's 4 foot, and I always hook it here 4 1/4, and you snap those lines, and I always do it alone. So I put a nail here and then pull my chalk line down to the other end, pull that same measurement and snap it. A little bit of time saver would be if you already cut these on the ground, or even if maybe you didn't cut them but you just let them run long or anyway. Okay, so we have some perspective there on with the guy up there and what we're trying to do. So if you got a square, I hate whenever the lines go through like that, and we want to, I'm getting better at doing this while I'm looking at the through the phone. Okay, so let's just assume let's run this out a little bit longer just for what I'm trying to see. I messed up. I'm trying to look at the drawing. Okay, so there we go. So this is on the ground. I'm gonna square that off. We haven't cut it yet. And so you say you want 16 inches on your overhang. So let's just assume, we square down, that we square off of the plumb line. So, here's our bird's mouth, and we line it up. And now we square over 16 to the edge and make our mark. Okay, we can subtract an inch, we can do the little details right now. So 1.5 inches for subfascia. And there's where we would, a lot of people would just make your saw cut from up top. I'm starting to think more and more that doing all that is way too much extra work that's wasted. If your wall is lined, and this is the exact same measurement all the way down the line, you should be close enough to go ahead and throw them up there and then fix whatever errors you have afterward. It shouldn't be that much errors. Very, very minor stuff. If you got to take the Sawzall and cut, so you've already got the subfascia on. There's rafter tail, right? And you got your nails in here. You almost just kind of run the Sawzall and don't even cut through the nails and get you a 8-ball gap in there, and you can just tap it in. Maybe put another nail just for comfort. And if it needs to come out, well, we all know how to do that. If you got to come out too much, you throw a block back here and nail it off, and then nail it from there. And if like I'm saying, if you went ahead and threw your sheet of plywood on top up here, I'm messing this up real bad. You know, if your plywood is up on top, well, all you got to do if you've nailed it through here is just, you know, cut those nails with the saws. I mean, it's nobody wants to go back and fix this stuff when you feel like you could have got it perfect at the beginning, but I'm starting to think that in the production sense, let's go ahead and just get everything up there and then deal with it afterward. That way you can really zone in on that specific problem. But the whole house is complete. So what I'm thinking is, now let's look at this rafter in plan view. And now let's say we got our mark. We just did this. The square is gone. Don't need it anymore. A lot of people might watch this and say, oh, that's common sense. I do that all the time. Well, maybe. I just never thought of this. And nobody I've worked for has either. So we got our 16-inch mark there. Plan view. And let's say we got 20 rafters stacked up. All I got to do is measure on the bottom and, you know, pull the equal measurement from here up 4 feet. And, you know, I can either measure the bottom, or I can just square down with a square. I would verify the measurement, because sometimes you might have something throwing that square a little bit out of kilter, and now you got an 1/8 inch, 3/16 inch problem, because, you know, if you have so many rafters sitting there. I would still pull that measurement, and it takes a second. But now, once I strike a line down, you know, down the edge of these rafters, I got my line. I've got my 48 1/4. So, and granted, you know, people would line up to the end of days saying, oh, how hard is it to just go and measure it and pop it? But it's the things that add up. This whole process of what I'm trying to do is taking the seconds, trying to turn those seconds into minutes per man, and then trying to turn those minutes into hours and days. That's what it boils down to. And also trying to save our back, and to do things. You're still going to have to do physical work no matter what. But if we condense it down, what it turns into is you're doing the work, but then your job changeover. You know, I'm able to start this job, and where it did take me 2 weeks, you know, or 14 days, work days, now it's taking me 12. So if you add that up over the course of a year, think about, you know, and if your guys are doing piecework or anything like that, they're making more money too. So I'm just trying to find every little method I can to make this go faster. And if you've ever gotten up on a roof and walked across the rafters, then it's also dangerous, and it's just that safety consideration as well. So I'm gonna start doing this. I encourage other people to give it a shot as well. Thank you.